Assalamu alaikum. Today we are going to discuss about one of the world's most huge corporation, that's Apple Incorporation. When Apple announced its plan to launch iPhone in 2007, which is still now one of the most desirable products, it garnered a lot of attention among its consumers as it had extremely high specifications for a phone compared to the other brand then. Despite facing controversies, Apple proved to be a successful player in the mobile market and might have even managed to achieve its target of selling 1 million phones by 2008. It was announced that the product will be launched in 2007. It also started a teaser advertisement campaign which featured many prominent celebrities which got everyone's attention. Apple decided to partner with AT&T Wireless Incorporation. The product at launch was priced as $499 for 4 GB and $599 for 8 GB respectively, also with the necessity to enter a contract with AT&T with some hidden cost. Many considered the price was too high for Apple to succeed as a new brand. As a result, in September 2007, Steve Jobs announced a massive price cut for all available iPhone models. This decision brought immense criticism on, and Apple apologized publicly. Apple offered credit of $100 to at Apple retail store. After its success in USA, Apple decided to launch iPhone in the European mobile market. It was initially launched in France, Germany, and UK, but the law prevented companies to sell joint product, and Apple can only sold only a 330,000 product by the end of 2007. There was one problem, which was the difference in the sets it sold and the network its partner operated were able to make quite huge. Other criticism were allegations and accusations regarding the environment and long bills sent by partner. The most criticism Apple faced throughout iPhone launch was its decision to cut price after its launch. Apple is still massively successful in US, and while not as successful in Europe, it planned to launch iPhone to other European countries. In August 2008, Apple also launched in Asian continent and in countries like Japan, South Korea, and China by the end of 2008. Now, for the next question, I am handing the next decision to my groupmate, Sama.
Thank you, Mehzabin, Sara. So the first question was, what is the main reason for the iPhone success in America? Apple now shares 59% of the mobile phone industry in US. So what is the main reason behind this immense success of Apple's iPhone in US? If we look back in 2007, we can conclude that there are 5 main reasons behind this immense success of iPhone in America. The 5 reasons are customer satisfaction, successful launch event, innovation, partnership with AT&T, simple and effective marketing. So the first reason has to be Apple's marketing. The pattern of Apple's marketing has not really changed since its inception. They used 3 types of marketing back in 2007. The marketing types are word-of-mouth marketing, TV commercial, and celebrity marketing. Word-of-mouth marketing is a type of marketing where the customer talks about the company's product with its relatives, friends, and close ones. Apple slowly released its new iPhone features for its customer. It created a lot of buzz, and people were wondering about the new iPhone. It created the type of hype that Apple needed for the launch of its very first iPhone. Second, the TV commercial. Apple launched a 3-second small TV commercial featuring many prominent celebrities of that time. They all just answered their phone saying hello, and that's it. At the end, Apple showed a very small glimpse of the new iPhone. This also led people wondering about the new iPhone. Last is celebrity marketing. As I already said in the TV commercial, a lot of prominent celebrities are featured. Americans always preferred and admired celebrities, so this also had a very strong impact on the Americans. The next big reason for Apple's success was partnership with AT&T. Today, we see Apple signing deals with many prominent companies of the US. But what was the scenario back in 2007? Apple was new in the market with their very first iPhone. Nobody was really ready to take the risk of supporting iPhone other than AT&T. AT&T became the very first telecommunication partner of Apple. Steve Jobs and AT&T together finalized monthly plans for its users. The monthly plans were flexible and very handy for the iPhone users. Stephenson, the CEO of AT&T, told in CTIA Wireless Trade Show that more than 1 million people had asked AT&T to notify them when the iPhone became available. By January 2008, the iPhone had become AT&T's most popular smartphone. So it was a win-win situation for both AT&T and iPhone. Next, the most important reason behind the iPhone's success was innovation. Apple has always been at least 5 years ahead of its competition. Apple was the first company back in 2007 to debut a multi-purpose touchscreen. The competitor of Apple at that time were Nokia, BlackBerry, Samsung, Palm, and many more, but all of them had the same type of feature. All of them had a very small touchscreen with a very small keyboard. Apple was the first ever company to bring touchscreen in the market. They also featured pioneering visual voicemail, an elegant touch keyboard, a 2-megapixel camera, and a photo management application. It also featured edge and Wi-Fi wireless technologies for data networking. The next big reason for Apple's success was high customer satisfaction. Though there were discrepancies in the start with its price cut cables and network issues, no one could deny the unparalleled features of the new iPhone. As a result, the customer satisfaction rate was higher for iPhone users than any other leading cell phone manufacturers in 2007-2008 in US. The next big reason for Apple's success was Apple's successful launch event. Many people might think, how can an event hold a strong importance or contribute in the growth or success of iPhone? Well, it's Steve Jobs we're talking about. The presentation of Steve Jobs back in 9th January 2007 still holds as an example all over the world to teach exceptional presentation skill. Steve Jobs' presentation was always a success because he exactly knew what audience needed and he delivered it. So we can conclude that these five were the main reasons behind Apple's success in US. Now I'd like to hand over to Fahim Imtiaz.
Thank you, Syeda Tasneema, for giving me the floor. So the world-famous iPhone is now in Europe. Apple launched their iPhone in Europe on 9th November 2007. They initially launched it in 3 markets, and their target markets are Germany, France, and the United Kingdom. Their sales started from 29th November 2007. And the industry insiders thought that the launch was as successful as it was in the US. The main reason for this thought is the initial customers' response in Europe. We can see from the statistical data that in 2007, from the November and December months, which means within 1 month, Apple sold 330,000 units in Europe in the combined market, which is United Kingdom, France, and Germany. So what were the strategies followed by Apple to grab the market in Europe? They followed four strategies in Europe to grab the markets. First one is being tied up with only one operator and sharing the revenues with their network operators, and then applying charge for carrier unlocking phone, and also high charge for unlocking the carriers. What Apple did here, they were only selling for each of the market, and for their phones there were only one operator available to work. So then, what were the overall market situation in Europe? First of all, what were the overall market situation in Europe? If we see from 4 perspectives, number 1 is competition, sales, and then customer satisfaction and market growth. First perception is competition. Apple already entered the Europe market lately, far lately from Nokia, BlackBerry, and HTC. So when they entered in the Europe market, they already were facing tough competition in the phone market. And in the sales perception, they expected 500,000 units of sales in Europe market, but they got 350,000 sales against their expectation. So that was not a good situation for Apple in Europe. And then the sales also dropped to 300,000 units in the first quarter of 2008. So our third perception is customer satisfaction. Are the customer satisfied with using the product of Apple, which is iPhone? Obviously, the iPhone is a good product to use because of their hardware and software and their dedication to make it smooth for the customers. But also there are some points which made the customers dissatisfied. Number 1 is 3G capability. The Apple failed to provide their customers using 3G in Europe. And then also the high price for unlocked phone, which is the carrier exclusivity. And then on being tied up only with one operator, which may, because the customers or consumers of Europe were habituated to use any operator they wish, but Apple limited this choice, and that's why they become less satisfied using iPhone. And then the market loss. The last difficulties Apple faced in Europe market, which is the system of buy one to get the others was against the law, which means Apple made the system for the customers so that they have to use one operator to use the Apple iPhone, and this system was against the law. So what were the what was the situation and the result from these problems? We saw a small sales drop in Europe market, and also Apple were forced to reduce the price of iPhone in Europe to maintain their sales drop. So what are the causes for sales drop and price reductions in Europe? Number one is high price, which what we already mentioned, that the brand values, Apple the prices for iPhone was already high, and for the unlocked phone it was more higher than anything else. And then 3G incapability, which made the customer dissatisfied, and carrier exclusivity, which means the Apple phone was not available for all the carriers in Europe, and also late entrance in the market. So what questions we had here? We already we had that with tough competition from Nokia, HTC, and BlackBerry. Do we think that iPhone is as successful in Europe as in America? From the data and the analysis we had in our case, we can come to the decisions that Apple was not as successful in Europe as it was in America, because they had to reduce their price to maintain their sales graph, and sales graph were already dropping, and they could not compete with the technological compatibility and also the late entrance in the market. Thank you. That's all about my question, and then now I'm handing over the next question to Arif to describe. Thank you.
As the sales of iPhone was dropped in Europe, Apple was in need for a strategy and marketing plan for Europe. It is explicit that there was an ample discrepancy among Apple and other mobile brands like Nokia, HTC, and BlackBerry. So to reduce the difference between them, Apple can take the following steps. They can bring prepaid phones. It can reduce the cost. The average cost a customer was spending in Europe was like $100, but if it was prepaid SIM, the customers can get all the facilities in half of the cost. So major carriers take $20 to $30 as a activation fees, but in prepaid service, customers can get without any activation fee. iPhone can they can bring medium to low budget phone. Through this, they can attract more customers. They can also follow cost plus pricing strategy. It will help them to attract more customers. Besides, Apple can increase Apple stores so that customers can get superior after sales service. It will also make a market driven diversification. So another thing Apple can do is creating their own search engine. The benefit of this will be it will propel iPhone's reputation, and it will demonstrate their technological capability, as iPhone was in cooperation with Google as their main search engine. That's all from my part. Now I want to hand over the next part to Jannatul Wara-042.
Sorry for giving me the platform. In the year 2007, Apple released two versions of the first iPhone, which were a 4GB version for $499 and an 8GB version for $599. The technology Apple offered with their iPhones hadn't ever been seen before. Therefore, people made queues in order to get their hands on the first ever iPhone. According to Apple, 270,000 phones were sold on the first day alone. Within 2 months of the tremendously successful launch, Steve Jobs made a decision, which is considered to be one of the major turning points in the history of Apple till date. Apple decided to discontinue the 4GB model and cut down the price of the 8GB model by $200. And the reasons provided behind this sudden change of heart are to combat declining sales resulting from high price, career exclusivity, and lack of 3G capability. This decision taken by Apple caused public outburst, which resulted in Steve Jobs issuing a mass apology and a remuneration fee of $100. On the other hand, the position of the company in the stock market was declining fast. In just 2 days, the stock lost more than 6% of its pre-announcement value. Even though the critics and all business enthusiasts saw the decision taken as a badly perceived one, Steve Jobs managed to turn the tables around. He made the announcement of the price cut just a few days before the holidays, and that ensured booming success and an unprecedented increase in sales. And the numbers honestly speak for themselves. After the price cut, the sales of the iPhone had gone from 9,000 units per day in July and August to almost 27,000 units per day in September. For the quarter ending in June of 2008, Apple announced a revenue of $4.76 billion and a net profit of a whopping $1.07 billion. Thank you. Now I will be handing the presentation over to Ajmain Fahim.
Thank you, Jannatul Wara. Hello, I'm Ajmain Fahim, and I will provide recommendations regarding Apple's iPhone launch. So it is extremely difficult to criticize Apple due to its such successful launch. I believe we can find out some flaws regarding its strategies. Number one, making deals with more network operators. Apple's main strategy is to partner with only one network operator and share profits with it. So this strategy worked well in USA, it did not work well in Europe due to people preferring to use their own network operators. If Apple wants to release iPhone again in Europe and Asia, then they will have to make some changes and make more deal with network operators. In case of Europe, Apple at least has to make partnership with 2 mobile networks due to mostly 3 or 4 networks available on those countries. However, in case of Asia, partnership with at least 3 mobile networks will be necessary due to people preferring to switch mobile networks by taking advantage of bonuses. If Apple is able to pull this off, then they will be able to make iPhone more accessible and result in raising interest in iPhone in the minds of people more. Recommendation 2, introducing a cheaper option. We know that all models of iPhone cost extremely high and due to the superior build quality and branding. However, this results in only high-class people available to buy their phones. I think Apple should introduce another cheaper alternative for poorer option. They can introduce another model with lower specs, but it might have the same signature look of iPhone. As a result, people will still buy it no matter what. If they're able to pull it off, they will be able to tap into another market of budget smartphones. Finally, introducing another options of selling unlocked models. Limitation of locked models. Apple has a habit of releasing locked phones which can only operate on their partner mobile network. This limits the freedom of people as they want to use more networks of their choice. So I think Apple should introduce another unlocked models so they can sell them and people can choose their own network operators while using them. They can raise their prices a bit higher so then they can get profit while those who buy their phones are able to use their own mobile networks. If they're able to pull it off, then I think Apple's purchases will increase and Apple's customer base will also increase because people are able to buy iPhones and use the mobile network operators they want. Finally, despite Apple facing heavy criticism regarding its pricing, even if its marketing strategies, even the hype it generated, and most of all, price cut decision, Apple still proved to be successful and proved everyone wrong. They were able to generate hype from the beginning and was able to utilize its creative and efficient marketing and even capitalize on that property. If Apple keeps moving on in this same way and keeps expanding its sales and doesn't lose its focus on iPhone, I think Apple will still be able to keep its momentum and keep going forward. Apple's momentum will not go away. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone. And I would like to especially thank Harun, sir, for providing us with such an important topic to work on. Thank you all.